My name is Montez and I live in Winston Salem, North Carolina. I like to do a lot of stuff, blogging and stuff like that, like going to work. But my big dream is to like do music. It calms me down, soothing. Like it's just like it's probably I say the culture, the music, and where it came from. Like it makes me interested in it and to do it. I ain't really have many opportunities in school to do music. I didn't have music class. We didn't have that. It been rough and bumpy. I mean, I've been switched around. So, I mean, probably switched a lot of different schools. But, I mean, for that, been good schools, though. The schools here is good. It depends on which ones you go to.
Now I get the bleachers.
Who, Montana?
Yeah.
Actually, if he could do the garden tomorrow.
Winston education advocates came up with an idea. They successfully convinced the Winston-Forsyth School System to invest in a mentor program. The mentor program would directly support students in the classroom and at home. It's part of a plan to uplift schools in the district.
This is East Winston. It's a mixed neighborhood. We have a lot of working class people, but historically, a lot of black people who had some measure of wealth live in this area. This right here is Carver High School. It has been predominantly black school. At one point, the school was thriving. It has some of the best educators, championship sports teams. It was a jewel of our community. And then over time, the resources began to get drained from the school. A lot of the best educators were recruited out of this school to go to other schools. The football coaches were pulled and placed in predominantly white schools, and the next thing you know, they start pulling, a lot of those high-tech classes that were offered here. A lot of people in the community moved away. And so the economic mobility in Forsyth County is among the lowest in the nation. And the wealth gap is going to expand even more than what it is now. We are at R.J. Reynolds High School. A lot of our wealth is concentrated in this area. So this is a thoroughly resourced school. They have a beautiful auditorium. They just received money to build a new stadium. The benefit to the families who live in this community is that they're able to walk down the street to attend this school. But then we also bus children from the public housing to this school. So you have a concentrated wealth all in this school, and then you also have some of the students who come from the most economically challenging communities. What narrative are our children crafting based off of that? Are they not worthy of a beautiful school? Are they not worthy of that investment?
Under segregation, black schools were underfunded, but the community was fully invested in their success, which counted for a lot. Strong local schools help create positive community identities. Easton and community members are working to address underfunded schools by taking a hard look at how the budgets allocate resources. She and her collaborators imagine a school system where every school is well-funded and where schools don't feel in competition. It isn't always an easy case to make, but Easton believes it's a solution to long-standing problems in her community's education system. Schools like Reynolds are an example of what the program is working towards. Advocates want all students in schools to have the sorts of resources found there. Currently, the youth Easton works with find themselves bumping into inequities in what their schools look like compared to others. And within well-resourced schools, many face bias in class tracking. The program's approach seeks to show what is possible if all schools were lifted up to the highest standard of resources.
After high school, I'm going to be a pediatrics travel nurse.
Jamise is very smart. She's on an accelerated level, but she does not want to take certain classes because she's probably going to be the only one in there.
I know of some black students who attend this school. Their classrooms are predominantly black, and that's because the majority of the children are in other classes. They're in those highly the gifted and talented classes.
Sometimes I be wondering, all these kids, I don't ever see them, so none of my classes ever. So
which kids? The white kids?
Yeah, I
you
never
don't see any white kids at your school?
I see them. They're always in the hallway, but they're never in my classes. When I was in middle school, I was in like mostly honors classes. So I was always the only black person in my class. So like with COVID, like my grades dropped and stuff. So being in high school, I'm back in classes with like more colored people.
She needs to be in the classes where her peers, where she feels accepted by her peers, and that's the problem.
That's something that, we just continue to really challenge the school district on, that there is access for those classes for all children, regardless of, their ethnic background.
Currently in the state of North Carolina, a legal battle is taking place that would require schools to provide equitable resource allocation. If successful, it would dramatically change the landscape of education funding in a positive way. Easton and community members are using the pending Leandro case as inspiration and pressure to look at their own district's budget.
The budget impacts every child and their family in Winston-Salem Forsyth County schools. If equitable decisions are being made, then you're going to see it in the budget. We want to go back to the time when North Carolina had a thriving education system. And so when the more I learned about Leandro and what it would afford our students and their families and our educators, I knew that, there aren't any silver bullets, but this comes close to, to being one, especially in this moment. When we begin to hear candidates who are running for office speak to education being a top priority for them, my thing is, put your money where your mouth is, So if you believe in education, if you believe that every child deserves a sound and basic education, then we should see it in the budget. We don't need a savior. Get the resources to the people. We know what's best for our children. We know what's best for our families. A lot of the disparities that we see, everything from individual violence to community violence, it is a result of oppressive systems. It's a result of bad decisions that have been made from people who do not live in those communities. I grew up in East Winston. My father, he actually used to work for the city of Winston-Salem. We had Crosby Scholars and Black Achievers programs at the YMCA, Mo Lucas. We had summer camps. Just back then, there were a lot more resources, and people still, just talk about it. And it wasn't that long ago. A lot of millennials can just look back over their lifetime and see the drain on our community. Highway 52 essentially split our community, and everything on the west side of 52, that's where all the money went. It's a night and day difference.
The program continues to have impact and is proving a change in resources can have a profound effect on the day-to-day lives of students.
Black and brown people truly believe in village, in a way that is just really spiritual. So the whole notion that, that just one parent is responsible alone for everything, considering that child, is just foreign. We truly believe in village, and because of that, then, we treat all children as though they're our children, and there is a greater sense of responsibility to make sure that, those children have everything that they need, especially when we're talking about the children who are most vulnerable due to oppressive policies.
So, my man right here, Ham Sandwich. Yeah, that's one of them. You go to Paisley. What's up with you? Our main thing for the community is to ride around, converse with the families, the mothers get on the same page with us so they know what direction we going.
Basically, he helped me straighten up sometimes, like when I fall out of place, help me get back in my place.
What you been doing since you been out on suspension? You been talking to that girl all day? Huh? That's what that is.
No.
Where your package at, your school package?
Yeah.
Okay. We building a bond with them, their families, they got their siblings and everybody. So we doing it, we have resources where we can reach out and help them on different elements of life.
He helped me and I helped him, so we good.
I never ever in my life ever looked at myself myself being
I tell people when your heart is pure and
and
your motive is real, everything else flows.
Jonte and Tiffany are mentors like Artemis and Shamika.
I had a student that has missed over 20-something days. And we were told, hey, can you do a follow-up check on this student? And the student we can't get in contact with them. They ain't been to school. So after doing a check on them, and they said they haven't been able to wash their clothes. That's why they haven't been to school. So those basic necessity things requires for them to get there.
Mm-hmm. The students just want to be heard.
And that's where we come in at. Because once we get those students and we develop that relationship with them, then they will be open to tell us. So therefore we can go back to the head and tell them this is why
absolutely.
he has been acting this
It's
way.
about advocating for youth across the board to get this program put in place. It was like pulling teeth almost. You cannot put a dollar amount on being able to have somebody tell a kid that has never had a hug, come here, let me hug you. Come here, let me tell you how much I love you. Come here, let me tell you how important you are. That could be foreign language to a child depending on where they're from. Of course, we always say, our children are our future, and that is no truth greater than that. And a major part of that goes back to resources. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Like, let's make sure all the schools are getting what they need, regardless of who is attending them.
The community is not the one that really needs to be fixed. The community needs resources. What truly needs to be fixed is the system. We're not about charity. We want justice.